Hi everyone, it's Ellen, and today I have a new junk journal spread to share with you, and I'm also quickly showing you here a new product that I've added to my Etsy store. So these are printable vintage doilies, and I've got 2 sets on there at the moment. My Etsy shop is always linked in the description box below, and you get 10 different doilies or linens in each set. And you can print these out and use them as many times as you like, and I'm really pleased with these. I've been collecting vintage doilies for a really long time. I've got quite a large stack of them now, and I wanted to share them with fellow crafters in a way that they can be reused again and again. So I created these printables, and I really hope you enjoy them. I absolutely love these. I'm really proud of them. I've been so excited to share them in a video, so I'm going to, my next few journal videos will feature my doilies quite a bit, just so I can show you all different ways to use them, because there are many ways you can use these. So I'm working with a few of them today, and I'm going for a more vintage theme today as I'm working with my vintage doily. So you can use these in other themes as well, which you'll see later on, but first off I'm going for vintage because I think everybody likes a bit of a vintage theme in their junk journals, and I haven't done a vintage theme in quite a while, so I was excited to get all of my vintage stuff on a page today. So I've got a beautiful pattern paper, and I just had a scrap of that, so I've added that over the left hand side of my page, where I created a quick pocket. You will have seen that earlier in the video. While I was talking, I just stuck some sellotape down so I can use the smaller page as a pocket. And then I'm just trying to figure out here, so I've stuck the pattern paper over the top of the pocket, and I'm just trying to work out how I'm going to make sure you can still open the pocket. I made this way more fiddly than it needed to be. I trimmed down the smaller page to create the pocket on the top, just so it'd be easier to slip things inside, so that's why there's a bit of a height difference. And then I've got one of my absolute favourite vintage linens that I've used, and it's this beautiful embroidered cream linen with green and yellow like leaf sprigs and flower buds embroidered on it. I absolutely love this. So I'm going to use this. I'm actually going to add my date and things on this, because there's like a space in the centre of the doily that's hasn't got any embroidery on, so I thought that would look really nice. I've trimmed it down a bit so I can add it to the corner of my page, and then I'm going to stamp the date on it like I said. So I'm using this first doily linen is more like a journaling card, which is a great way to use them, especially the lighter coloured ones. You can use them to write on, which I really like. I think it gives it a really nice effect. It's more interesting than just writing on a piece of paper, and the way that I've created these linens and doilies, you can really see the texture in them once they're printed off, so it really does look like you've got an actual the actual fabric piece in your journal, whereas it doesn't bulk out your journal because it's just on paper. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, all of my doilies that I'm using I've printed out on some fairly thin white card. You can also print them out on sticker paper, which would work really well. I don't have any at the moment, but I printed them out on thin cards so I can use them as ephemera, or I can add them to my journal without too much bulk. I thought that was quite a nice way to add them all. And also the doilies and linens that you get, you receive all of the printables as separate picture files, so you can print them out however big you want, however small you want, whatever size would work for you. These can be printed out quite large before they start to lose some of their texture and things. So you can print them out quite big. I think the biggest that I did was A4 size, and they still had they were still really clear. So I haven't tried any bigger than that, but yeah, I thought that way everybody can print them whatever size that they like, rather than having to just stick with the size that I've chosen. So I've added that linen to my page, and I'm absolutely loving how that's looking. I've also added some washi tape just to cover up some of the blank spaces that I had on my page. And then with a spare bit of that same pattern paper that I've used on the left hand side, I've just added to the corner of the right hand side. And here are all my photos. I'm just working with all different photos from July 21, so these aren't a particular day. There's a few different things that I journal about on this page. I've just sort of clumped them all together because there wasn't really enough to do a big spread about one day. If we go out somewhere special or it's a special occasion, then I'll journal specifically about one day in my journal. If not, I'll sort of group different things in the months together, so I'll journal about different things we did in July or any other months. I'm using another one of the doilies that I printed out quite small to back one of my photos, and then I've trimmed around the photo in the shape of the doily, and this was just some flowers that Brett bought me. He always surprises me with flowers, even still, which is lovely. And I've punched a hole in that, and I'm going to create a tag. So yeah, that's another good way to use them, and I really like how that looks because then the photo is a really interesting shape behind it, which is something that I don't really do in my journal, so I thought that was quite good. And then I'm thinking about filling my pocket now. I've got this beautiful, it almost looks like wallpaper. It's a pattern paper, the dark blue one. I absolutely love this paper. I don't know if I could personally use it as wallpaper, but I think it's so pretty, so I wanted to use that as my sort of journal card that I'm making to go inside the pocket. And I'm sticking that on the back of some vintage comic book paper, which is really sturdy, so that will hold itself together when I pull it in and out of that pocket, and you can see there it fits perfectly. And I've done it a little bit bigger so it just peeks out the top, just so I remember that something's in there. Otherwise, when I'm flicking through my journals, I sometimes forget that I've got pockets and things. So yeah, you can definitely see that there's something in there. I've then got a few pictures of Tom and Theo, my brother Tom. And again, these are from different days. They're not all from one day, but they're all pictures of them two just sat together. And I wanted to add all of these onto that journal card that I created, but don't really have a lot of space, so I've made sort of a mini booklet just with some old book paper, and I've stuck the photos inside. You can see here what I mean. I've just sort of I trimmed out the paper a little bit bigger than the size of the photos and folded it in half, and then I'll stick on 3 of the sides. I can stick 3 of the different photos, and I wanted to include these all together because there's not really a story to tell. It's just my brother and my son together, and I love these photos because they look really similar. Theo really looks like my brother. Everybody says that Theo looks like his dad, which he does, he really does, but when you see Theo with my brother, they look really similar as well. So it's a bit strange because Theo doesn't look like me. He has my colouring, my skin tone and my hair and eye colour, but he's all his dad, until you see him with my brother. So it's nice that he looks a bit like my side of the family as well, because everybody tells me he looks like his dad. I've got one of the Simple Story vintage style sticker books, and I'm using some things from that just to embellish around that little booklet that I created. I've also added a little label sticker, and I've written on there Big T, Little T, because that's what we call them. And I've added a sticker that says Sweet Moments, and another sticker that said Forever Captured, and a heart sticker and things. And I've gone for sort of the deep green tones because there's some of that in the pattern paper. I will add stuff onto the back now, and I wanted this to just be purely decorative. I didn't want to add any more photos. I tend to go a bit photo heavy in my journals, and I don't think that's a bad thing because, you know, you can never have too many photos, especially of your family and things. But I wanted to I'm trying to do more journaling, and I'm trying to add more decorative pieces rather than just absolutely filling it with photos, because it's not a photo album, it's a journal. I want to add photos, of course, but I also want my journaling, and I want ephemera, and I want things that sort of go with the day. So I added a lovely clear, a large clear sticker of a flower on the back of that, and I will add more later on. I sewed around the edge of that journal card that I created, and sewed that tag with the doily on it to the journal card, so that that just hangs over the top of the pocket. So I've now got lots of photos from a day out with my mum, and all I did with these is I kept them in sort of the strips, the photo strips that they were already in, and I've backed them with some white card because I've got quite a few white elements on this page, so I wanted to carry on with that. And I also added some pattern papers from my scrap drawer to both of those photo strips as well, and then I've stuck them down. I'm adding a small piece that I had left over of that linen on the left hand side. When I trimmed it out, I had some pieces left over, so I've added that to the top of the right hand page, and this just shows you that the pages go together. If you can tell that they tie in together, then you know they're from like the same, it's the same journaling. The pages go together basically. And then I've got another of my label stickers. These aren't actually stickers, they're ephemera, but I'm going to stamp out with this like typewriter font stamp Weirdo Wednesday, and that is because my mum is Nanny Weirdo to Theo. And the reason she's Nanny Weirdo is that when Theo was in my tummy, she used to talk to my stomach in the most terrifying voice, and we always said that Theo was going to be terrified of her when he was born. He's not, luckily, but and my brother called her Weirdo, and since then she's been known as Nanny Weirdo. And I don't think she enjoyed it at first, but now that's her name, so I think she's gotten used to it, and we love it. So, and every other Wednesday we have a day with my mum, and we call it Weirdo Wednesday. So that's why I've written that on that stamp. I've stamped that on that journal. I've stamped that on that label piece. I'm adding some more of my floral stickers to this page just to tie everything in together. I think it works because I've got florals in the washi tape, in the vintage linen that I've used. I've also got a picture of some flowers that Brett got me, so the florals really work with this spread. I've also added that little bird at the bottom of the left hand page. This is a Maggie Holmes chipboard, and I just pulled off some layers on the back so it doesn't bulk out my book too much. And I've also added a green puffy sticker from Ellie's Studio to my date. So yeah, I'm going to use some more of that beautiful blue pattern paper on the sort of as a layer behind the Weirdo Wednesday piece, and I've also stamped an arrow underneath where that label will sit, just so again it shows that that's what I'm talking about. Basically, those photos are from Weirdo Wednesday. final thing I do on these 2 pages is just pick out a few more things from my Simple Stories sticker book, just to add a few more embellishments to my page. You can never have enough embellishments, so I've added a couple of beautiful butterfly stickers and a couple of little phrase stickers to the bottom of my photos, and yeah, that is these 2 pages done. And I'm going to do another page because once I start in my journal, I just want to keep going. So I'm working on another spread here, which is sort of going to be totally different from the first spread. So I've got one of my largest doilies that I've printed out, and I'm going to stick this onto the right hand page, and then I'm going to add some mixed media to it. So I wanted these pages to be a bit more colourful, because of what I'm journaling about is Theo's rainbow spaghetti that I made him for messy play. So I wanted to add the rainbow to the page because that makes sense to me. So I've trimmed out the doily so that it fits perfectly on that page. And then I've got a circle stencil with all different size circles. And I've got a red, orange, yellow, green, blue and purple distress ink. And I'm just going to pass that ink through the stencil with my little brushes. And I'm trying to sort of blend the colours and that so that it looks nice. And create a rainbow on the right hand side. So there's the rainbow all finished. I really like this. I think it looks really pretty, and I wanted to show you that you can add things to these. You don't have to use them as they are. If you want more colour, you can stamp on them, you can paint on them, whatever you want to do, you can do to these to make them your own. And then I've got all of these photos here of Theo playing with his spaghetti. So Theo loves anything messy play. That's his thing. He loves it. So this rainbow spaghetti was a massive hit. I'm gonna say it was around 7 months, 8 months, because he was eating and he ate so much of the spaghetti, but it was just coloured with food colouring, so that was the whole point of it. We have to make sure that any of our messy play we do is edible because he eats everything. And then I've got another one of my printable doilies, linens, and I've got another linen here, and I've used those same distress inks to print out messy play on it, and that's going to be sort of a title for this page. I don't always do titles on my journal pages, that's more scrapbooking for me, but sometimes it's nice to add a little title on there. I'm going to stick down my big doily on the right hand side with some double-sided tape. And I just think this is so striking, which is what I was going for. So I added spaghetti to the top of the messy play stamping that I did, and I also added the date below it. And I've stuck down the my sort of title piece, and I'm now going to stick down all of my photos, and I'm adding some vellum behind these. I wanted to add something behind them, but I wanted it to be really subtle, so vellum it gives a really nice border without covering up too much, because obviously I've done all that work on the background. So yeah, I'm using some fairly thick vellum to back all of my photos, and then I can get all of them stuck down. I've got all of my photos stuck down now, and I've added my journaling on the doily that I added the colour onto, and I really love how this looks. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to add more journaling to my journal because I tend to sort of plonk a load of photos in and then don't leave myself enough room to journal, or just maybe write 1 or 2 lines, and I really want to be writing more. I found this beautiful vellum butterfly, and I believe this is a Vicky Boutin piece. This was from my Use It Up box, and I really wanted to add it to the page, but it was too big to add as a whole. So all I did was cut the butterfly in half so that it looks like the wings are together, and I've added that to the right hand page. I'm just going through my Use It Up box again, just trying to find some different things to use, and I found a perfect piece of ephemera from Cocoa Vanilla that says "Be a rainbow in someone's cloud," which was perfect obviously because we did rainbow spaghetti. And then I found a Heidi Swap piece that says "Make your dreams happen." This was a bit bulky and I didn't want to add it to the page as it was, so I just cut the words into strips and distressed the edges and then added them down the right hand side of my page. To make a couple of the pieces just stand out a little bit more, I've drawn around them with my black pen. Also, because I've got the black from my journaling on the page, I wanted to add a little bit more black. Just in a few areas. I don't want it to be too dark because it's supposed to be a rainbow page, but I just wanted to tie it in a little bit more. And those are all my pages finished. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, thank you very much for being here. Bye everyone!